Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The Last of Us Season 1, Episode 2, Infected. Uh, in this episode, Joel, Tess, and Ellie traverse through an abandoned and flooded Boston hotel on their way to drop Ellie off with a group of fireflies. This is directed by Neil Druckmann, and of course, the show created by Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin. This show stars Pedro Pascal as Joel Miller, Bella Ramsey as Ellie Williams, Anna Torv as Tess, and we'll leave it at that when it comes to the cast, just to avoid any big spoilers. So I'll try to mention more cast members as we kind of get into that. So there's a few things. This episode, once again, another very good episode. This one was definitely not as long. I think the first thing I want to touch on is, and I hope the show continues to do this because we've gotten to really good cold opens. So these cold opens right before the credits, they are expanding on what's going on with the world. What happened? Why is this infection happening? Which I really like the way they're doing this. The first one was amazing, just with that little clip from the old show trying to explain how this could happen. In this one, we also get an in-depth look at the world and the situation of before the infection, as it was happening. So that's really it was really well done. Just like I like that these short opens could be like just little mini short films explaining all this stuff. So I hope they continue to do this all throughout the season, build out the world in the cold opens, and then expand the story of our characters throughout the main part of the show. Uh, yeah, one of the actors from the cold open had her. I wrote on my notes, really good cup of tea acting. So like just the way that she was shaking at the news of all everything that was happening. So very well done. Then we move on to the main part of the episode, where we're following our main characters, Joel, Ellie, and Tess, as they try to get to this camp of fireflies. Um, I really like the design of the city, as it has been abandoned and kind of recaptured by nature. They also do a really good job at explaining more of how the infected work, how they really are a larger part of this organism, which is really interesting. I think this infection is very interesting. When you compare it to other type of, like, zombie genre type of things. So this is really well done. There's also a really cool thing after the show, which explains a little bit of why they made the choices that they did. I'll get into that once I give you the spoiler warning. But make sure to watch those after the credits type of things, like the little inside the show, and listen to the podcast as well. I think they give you a lot of insight on the episode. I haven't listened to this week's episode of the podcast. I've only watched the episode. So if I get anything else out of the podcast episode, I'll definitely come back, talk to you guys about it some more. Um, let's see. Also, we finally get some interaction. We see some clickers, and just really well done with the motion. I think it's important that each type of different zombie creature has a very distinct type of movement and sound associated with them. I think this is what's going to separate them from other franchises. But also, there's a through line as to what we think of an infected is. There's a lot of really great camera angles to build tension as we follow our characters through this abandoned city, through these buildings that have been abandoned. Um, it's really just a great look at the world, at the larger world of the show. And yeah, overall, this was another heart wrenching, great performed episode. I think Bella Ramsey is just such a really interesting approach to this character, that if you haven't played the games like myself, you don't really know much about. So this is really this impression that we're getting of Ellie. This is what she really is, for the people that only watch the show. And then playing opposite Pedro Pascal and Anna Torv, I mean, we have just a great set of characters to follow throughout the show. But yeah, I'm gonna get into a little bit of spoilers. Not too many things. There's really not a lot that I want to say about spoiling stuff, but it is gonna be spoiler. So if you haven't watched the episode, make sure to go check it out and then come back and watch the rest of this. I just want to say, so spoilers ahead. Um, Anna Torv's performance test that we'll probably won't see anymore. Maybe a flashback or something like that. But she was listed in the credits as a special guest star, so this might be the last that we see of her. Uh, she did a fantastic job. Her character connects Joe and Ellie, and even Craig Mason after the show mentions that um, she was always a good person that was in a bad situation, but now this glimmer of hope in Ellie kind of brings out that good again, and she makes kind of an ultimate sacrifice. Also, that scene where she gets fully infected by that clicker that just has the tendrils coming out. Really interesting stuff. They did mention why they chose to do away with the spores aspect of the game. Like I said, I haven't played the games before, but I think I knew I've heard some stuff that this might be a change that they make, and it makes sense. I think it would be a lot less believable that in a world that where this infection can spread through spores, not just the biting and the saliva and all the regular kind of zombie like tropes. Um, they made this decision, but I think the change that they made, and I don't know if this is just a full change for the show or maybe an enhancement, the fact that this organism, that this infection is all kind of connected all throughout this fungi. Like, so if you go somewhere and you step on something, or if you encounter one clicker, and even if you kill them, that they could relay that message back to a whole horde of others, giving away your location. That really, it adds an interesting aspect to the show, because normally when you kill a zombie, you don't expect like 10 more to know exactly who you are, unless you're being very loud, and even then you can kind of move around. But with an organism that it's built into nature itself, like a fungi, um, that adds a difficulty there. So this is really another great show. Like I mentioned, I'm really enjoying this. This episode was also very very well done, um, and I just can't wait. Like, I love a show that just leaves me wanting more. And this show has continued to do that on both episodes. I think this episode will be the litmus test to see if, like, if you're a fan of the games. I think the first episode was a great opening gambit, but now that we're actually seeing the clickers and everything like that, and changing some aspects of the game, this will be the real litmus test to see if people that enjoy the game are also going to enjoy this show. So let me know what you think down in the comments about this episode, about the adaptation, about some of the changes that have been made, about the explanation, or at least the breadcrumbs that we've received of the explanation of the infection, all that stuff down in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.